You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for all ages from 2 and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and this week, listeners, there's the usual sorts of goings on. You know, where I go and do this and then that happens. Oh, is that for me? Oh, listeners, I've got a message. Let me see. It says, today is International Stick Your Leg Up Your Nose Day to celebrate the end of the Great Leg versus Nose War of 1623 that ended with a big truce where everyone with a leg stuck it up their nose and everyone with a nose stuck their leg up it. Please join us in celebration by sticking your leg up your nose until tomorrow. This is mandatory, and if you don't do it, we'll explode your toilet. Oh, well, I don't want that. I sort of need my toilet. I don't want it to explode. Well, I guess happy Leg Up Your Nose Day, everyone. Linda, did you know it's International Stick Your Leg Up Your Nose Day, Linda? I bet she did. And I wish she could have warned me so I'd be able to practice a little bit. But I guess, how hard can it be? Okay, here we go. Well, that's my right leg up my left nostril, and, well, I can't say it's very comfortable, but I guess it's only for today, right? I'm sure I don't have to do it for the whole day, do I? Anyway, I'd better check the mailbag, even though it's pretty hard to get to the mailbag when one of your legs is up your nose. Here we go. Right, this is from Jackie, who says, I'm 0.00 milliseconds old. So that's milliseconds. I think that's how long it takes someone to mill some flour. And then Jackie says, and I want all the stupid beetroot-eating Collins to stop invading Americans. Whoa, I knew there was a lot going on in America at the moment, but I didn't know it was being invaded by lots of Collins who keep eating beetroots. That sounds serious, and there's also no way to tell if you've embarrassed them or not, as they're already purple. That sounds awful. I'm sorry, Jackie. And then they say, I've just transferred 9 billion stinky hippos. Well, nice one. I can't smell them as I have my leg up my nose. And also, the podgoblin came because he is my pet Wagamama. Thanks, Tiernan. I ordered 10 clever geckos from Lemons, and instead I got 1 billion stinky hippos, so I just gave them to you. Bob is coming for you and Linda. Anyways, bye Tiernan, King of Stinky Hippos. Well, thanks, Jackie. I will watch out for Bob. That's quite threatening. I mean, if he's coming for Linda, hopefully he can find her and bring her back. And I do wish I was the King of Stinky Hippos, and then I could order them all to leave and never come back. You really shouldn't order clever geckos from Lemons R Us. They only sell lemons that are actually potatoes painted yellow, so you were asking for that. Right, this is from Linda is in my bed in Australia. So firstly, can you tell her to get out of bed and get to work, as I really need someone to make me a coffee today, especially as I have a leg stuck up my nose. They say, if you reply, I will gove you 10 billion zillion dollars. Guys, why is Linda in my bath with a motorbike? Is she okay? Hang on, I thought she was in your bed. Has she already tried to race away on a motorbike? What is Linda up to? And look, I look forward to my 10 billion zillion dollars any second now. Any second, I'm sure. Sometimes these international bank transfers take a few minutes. I'm sure that's it. How about now? No? Okay, maybe now? No. Oh, I hope it hasn't got lost. This is from Anya, aged 9, also in Australia. So, Anya, if you see Linda riding around on a motorbike, please tell her to stop it and come back to the UK. Thanks. Anya says, Dear Sir/Madam. Oh, that's the fanciest email anyone's ever sent in. Then she says, I would like to share my joke, please. Well, of course, Anya. Here is the joke. What would you call popcorn that is blue and cold? A popsicle. Yours faithfully, Anya. Wow, what a great joke, and such a polite email to me, and I think Linda too, Sir/Madam, even though Linda is obviously riding around her motorbike in someone's bath. Thanks, Anya, and please can everyone only send me unbelievably polite messages from now on. Yours sincerely, me. I have to take my leg out of my nose. This is just getting too tricky. Ah, that is much, much better. Also want to say a big congrats this week to the competition winners of Mike Rampton's excellent book, How to Become a Genius in a Year. Big shout out to Finn, with all the N's, who sent in this very funny made-up fact. I am 9 walking, talking microwaves old, and I'm going to win your wacky fact competition with my good entry. This is it. Did you know that you should never ask to go to the toilet during French class, as you would end up in a very civilised conversation with your French teacher? Human: can I please go to the toilet? Teacher: oui, oui. Human: non, non, poo, poo. Soft as squishy regards, Finn. P.S. One of those microwaves had a microwave meal in it, which is called a Linda's Delight. P.P.S. Bye. Wow, amazing fact. Thank you, Finn. I also like that one person in your fact was human and the other person was teacher, because teachers are not human. And also Bastian won a book. Bastian sent in, poo can reach up to 3 meters long if you don't eat broccoli. Whoa, get eating that broccoli, everyone, or you'll end up doing poos like goldfish do. Thank you, Bastian. A signed book is going to get sent out to both of you ASAP. And this week, listeners, there is a new competition. Today's guest is the brilliant author Emily Jane Clark, who has a new very funny book out at the end of July called Cringe Club, which you will hear all about in our chat. But I have had a read already, and it is properly great. If you would like to win a copy, just get your nearest plankton brains, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk and send in something very cringe but very funny that's happened to you. So nothing you're still embarrassed or upset about, please. Just one that you're very happy to share with this podcast. And yes, it can be something that happened to a brother, sister, parent or pet, if that makes it easier. The 3 that make me laugh the most will get a copy of Emily Jane's new book. And yes, I'm afraid, sorry, it is just for UK and Ireland listeners again, because tariffs and post and stuff like that. Though I do wish I'd given some copies to Linda before she went to Australia, and then she could have handed them out there. Anyway, you've got all the way until the end of August to send those cringe moments in, and I will announce the winners in September. And don't forget, you can also use the podcast email to send in anything else you like too, jokes, messages or questions you need to have answered. Oh, another text. It says, you have removed your leg from your nose. There will be trouble, mister. Uh-oh. Well, while I deal with that, you listen to this most importantest bit. I am so pleased to have right here on Radio Nonsense the brilliant Emily Jane Clark, one of the world's only traffic cone retrievers, helping to find traffic cones lost in the wild and returning them to their families. Emily Jane, it is so lovely to have you back on the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Very busy time of year on the traffic cone front. But apart from that, yeah, great, thank you.
Is that because it is summer? There's sort of a lot more, traffic cones seem to be out a lot more in the summer, don't they? It's their natural sort of time, I think.
Actually, you'd think that, but it's mostly because it's mating season.
Right.
So, they're protecting their young. So we've really got to get in there and try and, protect them from, people that might have sort of bad intentions against the traffic cones, which there's a lot of them out there. So got to protect the little ones.
Yes, and I suppose for listeners who don't, so I often feel it's quite unfair that you don't see. I've never seen traffic cones on a David Attenborough documentary or anything like that, and I always think that's very unfortunate.
I know, exactly. I think he sees them as not one of the most interesting of the, nature's products, really. So, but also they're very shy. They're very, very shy. So, they perhaps said no. Maybe he's asked them and they turned him down. Who knows?
That's a good point, actually. That's a good point. And it's also, I suppose it depends on, because they've sort of got, I'm not really sure how a traffic cone works. Is one end, have they got 2 mouths or is one in their bum?
One end's their bum. Come on. One end's their bum.
Right,
yeah.
Sure. So I suppose it depends on if they sort of, which end? Is it is the big end the mouth?
No, actually, it's not, because
that's the bum, right?
They talk. The top is the mouth, the bottom, because they do unfortunately do rather large poos, so they need all the space. So yeah,
that makes sense, right? That makes sense. Well, then I suppose they've only got a little mouth at the top, so if they sort of whispered, "David, please don't do it."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So so I think that's probably what it is. They're just very, very shy creatures, and if he asked them in mating season as well, then that's not really a good time.
That's fair. That's fair. And there's always, I mean, because obviously the main threat is all these road construction workers who seem to put them all over the place. But I'm very aware there is a growing threat of sort of, I think mainly sort of university students who like to put them on statues as big hats.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even take them home.
Yeah, and in some cases, some of you might want to close your ears if you're easily shocked. They have been known to actually use them as a toilet. And and not even the bum end, they will wee into the mouth end as a little as a little game, if you will, to see if they can.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and so this is a very concerning behaviour.
It's really concerning, and I think what you're doing is, remarkable. I don't think it's easy to go around and collect them and return them home. And I guess, I don't know if it's like other animals. If a human sort of stroke them, or they sometimes their family won't accept them again because they don't smell quite right. Do you have to go around and sort of spray them with a traffic cone smell, or?
To be honest, they don't really like to be touched at all by humans. For that very reason, so you you have to wear very protective gloves made from sort of car materials. So it's what they're used to.
Right.
So, we've got it all under control.
That makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And I think it's great what you're doing. And are there other cones under threat, because it's this time of year? Obviously, there's a lot of ice cream cones about.
To be honest, the ice cream cones are okay, but they're doing all right, and the traffic cones are very jealous of the ice cream cones because they've always been the most popular cone guys. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there is a bit of rivalry there. But the ice cream guys, they're doing well. You don't need to worry about them.
I mean, I don't want to put all of our listeners off their ice cream, but it does occur to me that if the larger end of the traffic cone is the bum, is that the same for ice creams? And does that mean people are eating ice cream from an ice cream cone's bum?
Well, you know what ice cream's made of, I assume.
I know, I assumed it was iced cream.
Oh, that's what they want you to think, mate. But do you really think the guys in those vans are buying all that ice cream? And where do they put it all in those little vans? No, they're not. And basically, they train the cones to actually go to the toilet, and then obviously you get the nice plop on top. They can feed them various things to make the colours a bit different. But that's so sweet. You're so naive thinking it was creamy ice. My God, what a fool you feel now.
I mean, I do feel a fool, and I'm also really wondering, am I put off by that? Because actually, ice cream cone plops are really tasty. And,
exactly. Exactly. But obviously, it's not particularly nutritious, but it's an occasional plop from the cone won't do you any harm.
Yes, I've seen. So here's a question then. I've seen in those ice cream shops where the cones are separate, and then they scoop the ice cream from a big tub. So have they made the cones plop into a tub, and then they have to scoop it back in? Because that's got to be very uncomfortable for them.
In busy seasons they sometimes do. Otherwise, sometimes the actual ice cream seller occasionally has to top it up with their own poop. I'm afraid to say.
Wow.
But they only eat ice cream, so their poo is just pure.
Sort of the same.
Yeah, it all goes.
That makes sense.
Exactly. So there's a lot to the ice cream selling world actually that is not public knowledge, but if you think about it, it's obvious. It's like, oh my God, how could I not have got that all along? So
I am so pleased that listeners are getting to hear this before, sort of as part of the spring summer months when it's prime ice cream season. I'm glad that the truth is out there.
We should know these things.
Yeah, we should. I'm quite jealous because I've always heard the phrase "you are what you eat," which isn't true. Because I'm not a crisp, right? And I eat a lot of crisps.
Yeah.
I haven't turned into a crisp, which is probably good because I would then want to eat myself, which
exactly.
Yeah,
that'd be tricky.
But it would be tricky. But if people who eat a lot of ice cream just poo out ice cream, it's quite. I don't know. Is it good or bad that doesn't happen with other food?
It depends on the food. It can happen, but it has to be quite a soft food for it to not sort of just flow straight through. But yeah, no, and it's got about the consistency. Like, you're not going to be able to eat a jacket potato and poo out a jacket potato as, it'll come out as mash then, which is, that is useful in certain, like last night I was making sausage and mash for the kids. My masher had broken, so instead I just wolfed down a few potatoes and out the other end, ready mashed. Saved me a job, didn't it?
That's very handy.
Yeah, very handy.
Very handy, a lot quicker. Like a lot of listeners won't realise how long it takes to cook a potato sometimes.
Oh my God, especially mash, because you've got to peel, you've got to boil, you've got to then do the mashing. So instead now, top tip, you're a busy dad. Now you can just make your kids mash like that.
That's incredible.
Down, yeah.
I'll tell you what, this is the thing that confused me, is you can get a thing for potatoes, but it's called a ricer, but it doesn't make them into rice.
I've tried that, yeah. Very confusing.
I don't get that.
No, I tried it thinking I'll have a nice curry, but I didn't have any rice. I thought, just use potato rices. Ended up like with sloppy potato bits in my curry, so it's a con. That's what it is.
It's an absolute con.
Absolute con.
Call it a ricer if it doesn't. I want to be able to put a shoe in there or whatever, and then I press it and rice comes out.
Exactly. It's. I'm thinking of suing actually, because it is pretty misleading.
You should do it. I'll join you. I'll sue as well.
Come on, get a petition. Let's get a petition going.
Yes. The only thing I can think is, unless the person who's invented it is called like Mr. Ricer or something, and then it's named after.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, let's do our research. And find out, shall we?
Yes, that's very smart. This is why we've got you on the show. You're the sort of person that has, you obviously know a lot about traffic cones and ice cream cones. I'm not sure. I can't actually think of any other cones in existence. Maybe they don't.
No.
Party cones? No.
No. Party cones. You can make anything into a cone, really. But, most things you can make into a cone. So,
wow.
Yeah. I just put it in my potato coner.
Right,
and then it comes out a cone.
So like the ricer, which doesn't turn things into rice, but if you have a coner, you can put things into the coner.
Yeah. The coner people have really got it right,
Oh, I like the sound of. Because I would like a cone made of I'm trying to think.
Crisps.
Some really good things. Crisps.
You would like a crisp cone, I can imagine.
And then what would you scoop to put in that?
Dip. It's got to be a bit of hummus up there. A bit of hummus, bit of cheese and chive. That would be actually so nice. Seriously. I do love crisps and dip, and now that's made me hungry. Genuinely, I can't believe I haven't done that with my potato coner.
You should do this, because it's like you can get nacho bowls, can't you? Where the bowl is nachos, and then there's always a bit when you're not sure how to eat it without it falling all over your face.
Yeah,
but I think a crisp cone would be fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a really smart idea.
It would, because I love a bit of savoury. I don't always fancy ice cream, so you could have that as an alternative, couldn't you? Nice.
Yes. I'm a big fan. Do you have any? I can give you my one as first, but do you have any like food goals or food things you wish they'd invent? And I'll tell you, my one is I really want them to make a pita bread, but where like the top of the bread is like a zip made of bread, so you could fill it up and then you could unzip it, fill it up with filling, and then
that's
zip
amazing.
It back up, and then eat it. That's what I want them to invent.
Wait a minute, would the zip be edible?
I think it would have to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I think might be why they haven't invented it yet.
But could you make it out of? Would it just be made of more pitta, or would it be something to complement the pitta?
That's a good point. It needs to be something you could zip and zip back up.
Yeah.
Zip back up. So I don't know. Like you couldn't make it out of like a dip, because it would just
it'd be too soggy. It'd be too soggy. Maybe a bit of lettuce or. Something like, to get you 5 a day in there, maybe.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's very smart. Yeah, you'd have to be very careful. Cucumber would be too soggy. I think there's a reason they haven't invented it, and it's because there's not a single thing that we could come up with that would make it work. But I would like someone else to. I'm throwing it out there, and by saying it on the show, someone.
I think it might get picked up.
It
I mean, to be honest, we've got between us with that and the crisp cone, we've got a bit of a a business idea here. So let's pursue that.
I'm up for it. Obviously you'd have to leave your traffic cone aid behind, but I think between the two of us we could invent. I haven't got any more ideas than that, and I don't know if you do, but we might have to. Well,
we'll have to brainstorm a bit.
Yes.
Maybe, So it could all be about putting things in things. Maybe that's our selling point. You know. So something to think. Certainly something to think about, I think.
Yeah, I like that. What's the other one? There's already like soup where the bowl is a bread. Is that right? Or cheese where the...
Yes, there is. Bread bowl. Yeah. I bet no one ever eats that big bowl of the bread bowl, do they? Though,
no,
come
it's
on.
a lot, isn't it?
Bit much.
And then it's all soggy.
And how are you going to dip it in when you? That's the best bit when it's the bowl.
I haven't thought that through.
Yeah, you'd need another bowl. Sorry, to dip in the bread bowl. You'd need 2 bread bowls, wouldn't you? Ideally,
you'd need a bread bowl in the. Yeah, you see, that's a terrible waste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm very against those things. I'm honest.
I am very against what. But if you had a bread, I'm just trying to think of what else. If you had a bread conical flask, and then you could sort of hold it. You could kind of drink the soup and then eat the bread. Would that work?
Yeah, that would be slightly better. Yeah. It's a bit like having a mug made of biscuit. Like you can't dip. It's as pointless as that. You know what I mean? You want to dip the biscuit in the tea, but the mug is. Yeah. So people, they haven't thought this through. The bread bowl people, they totally haven't.
They haven't. We'll show them. We'll show them.
Cone. Yeah, exactly. That's much better.
It's much better. It's much better. And I'm going to call mine zipper bread.
That's brilliant.
And I think that would. I've already got the marketing sorted. So we're there. We're there. Wow. Well, already so many good ideas, Emily Jane. This is why we have you on the show. It's that level of expertise that I'm so pleased you could come back and chat to us. And obviously, like last time, I've got a big question that I know you are the person that can answer it. But I do have to ask you our standard Radio Nonsense admin questions first.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. No, that's fine.
Right,
yeah, no, that's fine. You go for it. Whatever you need.
I like your very confident attitude towards admin.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with a bit of admin. So
good.
Go for it.
Well, this is 2 bits. 2 bits of admin. Are you fine with 2 bits of admin?
Yeah, I guess so. Go for it.
Okay, I didn't want to. You got a bit worried that I don't. It won't be more than 2. I'm not going to suddenly go. It's 15 bits of it. I'm not going to suddenly do that.
Yeah. Will you be testing me on it afterwards? That's will I have to do an exam or on the admin?
You will, but nobody. It won't be monitored, so you can do it in your own time.
Okay.
And look up the answers online.
Oh, okay, that's fine then. I'm panic over. Yes. Panic over. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely pointless test, and also you don't get a certificate. It's and I don't check the results. It's it's absolutely.
Oh, okay. That sounds like my cup of tea then.
But you do get sent the test just because. I'm not really sure whether it's happened actually. It's a big error on
admin error.
Yeah, it's a really terrible idea. Needs to put that one back to the drawing board. But listen, these admin questions. First one, quite easy. It's just one we have to ask because obviously listeners to this show are of all possible ages you can imagine. Everything from sort of minus 3,000 to kind of immortal ancients to 7 to 46 to everything except 100, not 100. Long story, and so I just need to check if there are any rude words you won't be saying to make sure that this show stays completely family friendly.
Well, so I'm allowed to say it now.
Well, if you don't say it now, we won't know what the rude word is. So
okay.
Sort of, it does, but we need to know that then. Why are you telling us now that you won't be saying it?
Okay, I won't be saying Timothy. So please do not bring that up with me.
Wow.
Wow. It's just not for you. I don't feel it's for your listeners' ears, really. I made a vow some years ago not to only use the word Timothy in a negative way. So I might be like, oh,
Sure,
for Timothy's
sure.
sake, you know,
Yes,
you
yes.
big Timothy, you know.
Wow.
But for this show, I will be keeping my mouth, you know, nice and clean. So
That's, I mean, gosh, I can't. Do you know what? I don't think anyone's ever said Timothy on the show, and I'm very pleased because I think we'd have
thank
so
God.
many listeners complaining, not
Oh
least
God, of course.
people called Timothy who'd be outraged. You know, and it's just, it's not the time or the place. How do you feel? Are you all right with a Tim?
If I'm honest, no, I mean, I wouldn't say it myself, but I'm not as offended.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's kind of the sort of street slang version, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's still,
exactly.
we all know what the meaning is.
Exactly.
We all know it still means Timothy. It's
Yeah.
still just,
It's
just
all
as
still
rude.
part of the Timothy, if you will.
Yes.
So
Yes, and I just have to check all the colours. What about Timothea?
that hasn't come up yet. But I just think that is a sneaky get around. That's
Yeah.
just, you know, people try and sneak it in, and I won't have it. So
That's fair.
So no, I'm not having.
I get it, and I for one am sort of always I always think when you have names that are, when they say, oh, this is a boy's name or a girl's name, but we've added an A, or we've changed it to an I, or we've added a Z, or some numbers, and now and you think, lazy.
It is lazy. They just can't be bothered. Like, you know, there's ADVERT up the road, obviously, lazy parents. There's Garella down the shop the other day. They just get thinking of your own names. It's quite sexist if you think about it as well. Just like, you know, come up with unique girls' names. So
I agree. We've got a Gregosina next door, and I just think we don't need a Gregosina.
No.
You know, just give her a new name. She could be called like She could be called I don't know yogurt
exactly. Unless is it the Gregosina who runs the big sort of sausage roll place? Because
she's from that family. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say she's, you know, I don't mind her having that. Because, like you say, the whole family are called a variation of Greg's for the sake of the sausage rolls. So, you know.
Yes.
Let her off.
That's fair. I will do. I do wonder. Now we sort of saying that. I wonder if the person who invented the ricer. I do wonder if their whole family has got some variation.
And now we've insulted their whole family. They might be after us actually. So we better keep our heads down.
I wouldn't want to get riced. That would be an awful punishment, wouldn't it?
Oh my God, yes.
It'd be terrible. It'd be really terrible. Well, okay. Well, listen. I thank you for not saying Timothy. I certainly wouldn't say it on the show. I wouldn't dream of it, and we'd be shut down in minutes. So I very much appreciate you avoiding that word.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you, Emily Jane. And the second bit of admin, we have to ask these sort of questions. Would you rather, for every 2 steps you took forward, you'd have to take 1 step back, or that you could only travel anywhere by walking like a crab?
Now, can I just say something about this this bit of admin, Tiernan? Now, I do a lot of would you rather. I play it as a game with my kids, so I am a little bit of an expert at asking these questions. So, can I give you a little bit of feedback on that?
Yes, of course. I'd love some feedback.
Yeah. I have learned the hard way. If you just ask a question like that, people are just going to say, "Oh, neither." You know, got to give them.
No, that's not. Yeah.
No, they do, and they say none, and then I'll say, "Well, no, you can't," and then they'll go, "Oh, why can't I? What will happen if I just say no?" Well, so if you don't mind me saying, you would do well to maybe add a bit more of an incentive, like I kind of add. If you don't do any of these things, you will be smacked on your bum for the rest of your life every time you walk out the house. You've got to add a bit of fear, otherwise you're just going to get a lot of
neithers. I see. So there needs to be. This question needs then a kind of a threat at the end.
Yes. Because otherwise, I'm just going to say, you know what, I don't fancy either of them, and there's no what's going to happen if I say none. So you need to give me a bit of incentive to do one of those things, if you will.
If I said if you didn't choose either of these things, you would constantly fart out of your ears for 30 years.
Nice. I
that
like
right?
it because
Okay.
I would,
Okay.
I would not like that at all. So now I'm
Yes.
going back to your question, and I'm thinking, you know what, they're looking quite appealing compared to that. You see what I'm doing?
Yes,
See what
sure,
see?
sure. Yes.
You
Okay,
know.
well then I'll throw that one in then. If
Okay, yeah. So I
that
don't want to
ups the
do
stakes.
that. So now
No.
my brain's going, now I have to, I think I'm going to do 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's going to take you a very long time to get anywhere.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, I can put a little podcast or something like that. I just don't really like crabs or walking like a crab. So
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be a crab. You know, I haven't said you turn into a crab, so
Okay.
you don't have to. You don't have to do the pincer hands. You don't have to
Okay.
have your eyes on stalks. And I would say that there are advantages to walking like a crab. Like, should you come across a very narrow sort of corridor, you can just you can probably walk straight down it without having to kind of angle yourself because you're already
Yeah.
walking like a crab.
That's
Whereas
true.
my worry with taking the steps forward and then having to take the step back is, what if you've taken 2 steps forward very carefully over a dangerous ravine, huge pit, or
Yeah.
perhaps I don't know, a spike trap, and then you've got to then step back. That's going to be very
Yeah,
tricky.
that's true. And my math isn't very good, so I might sort of miscount the steps and might, you know, lose count after 1 and then think. So it is, yeah, you are making me think might have made the wrong decision now. Is it all right to change, or have I now got farts coming out my ears?
I mean, no, you are allowed to change. There's no clause on that. But you know, I'm not saying you have to. I think there probably are advantages to the steps forward and back as well. I just think it's worth thinking through the, you know,
Yeah.
all the possibilities before you.
Yeah, I was a bit hasty to do that just because I was thinking,
Yeah.
you know, it seemed like the easiest option. But, you know, the feedback for this part, very good on your part that you're sort of,
Thank you.
know, expanding on the options. So, yeah, well done
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
that. So, yeah, you've sold me on the crab now.
Oh wow! Okay, great. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
pleased. I'm pleased. Well done. And now you won't have the farts coming out of your ears for 30 years.
Thank God. Thank God.
So
No
you
one wants that.
You've done very well. You've done very well. Well, I mean, listen. Not only did you answer that question superbly, you've given me food for thought with future
Yeah.
would you rather's. I've never really added a sort of further threat because as yet no one told me that they might say neither. I never even thought of that as a possibility.
Yeah,
Quite
yeah,
really.
especially when you're playing with children, they just, you know, they
Yes.
often go straight to
can
neither. So
imagine.
you kind of gotta sort of really get the fear in them. So
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm all for scaring children. I think,
course.
especially any of our listeners tuning in. Boo! There you go. I hope that made you jump. Emily Jane, so listen, thank you. Look, you've taken the admin question very seriously. I really appreciate that. We've now got this question, and this question was sent in by someone called Six Man, who says they are 12 oranges old. And now what's confusing about that is, for a start, I don't know if you know the orange kind of orange age range, but if you're 12 oranges old, oranges normally go off after about 3 or 4 weeks. They are probably, I mean, what would that be? 3, 6, 9, 12. What are they, like 6 months old, maybe at best?
yeah, possibly. But isn't 1 orange year 7 human years? Or is that,
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so
No, you're right.
Gets a bit
You're right.
confusing again.
So they're 84 years old. Yeah,
So,
that
yeah.
probably makes more sense.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't really understand why they're called Six Man if they're 84 years old, or if they're 6 months old. I suppose it makes sense. But
Yeah,
maybe
that's
they
true.
maybe they only eat 6 of everything, or
It's obviously a code name for something. I mean, this could be Mr. Ricer, you know, spying
wow,
on the show.
Yes, good point.
Got to be careful now. You know, we're in the Kona trade. We've got to keep our wits about
Wow.
us.
That's a very good. My gosh, I never even thought that this could be a sort of spy type. Well, I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on the question. I have to
Yeah.
say, if we don't get this
Trying
right,
to
I don't
think what
know
it
what's
is.
going to happen to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
So I don't. Yeah. Crikey. Okay. Well, listen, Emily Jane. Here's the question. I'm going to just say it as it was sent. It's a big question. A lot to it.
Okay.
What if the ocean was made of peanut butter?
Have you been talking to Clonkers? Seriously, I know who Six Man is. It's Clonkers.
You know who Clonkers?
Clonkers. It's got to be Clonkers. He's rubbing my face in it. He's like my arch enemy. All these years later, after the great peanut butter prank of 2010, I can't believe he's got to me like this. I'm shocked that he's found me like this. I'm sorry, but this is this is tricky to hear. Like, I haven't thought about this incident for a while, about the peanut butter ocean. I don't know whether you heard about what happened to me. Don't know whether
I have. Are you all right to answer this question? Is it too much?
No. Do you know what? I think sometimes it's good to get these things out in the open,
Sure.
You know, talking is good. They say it's good, isn't it? So maybe it's about time I faced up to it. So basically, me and Clonkers, or Six Man, as he's obviously going by now, we used to be best friends. You know, we were a famous ketchup rap duo. He got a bit jealous because I went on my own, and that's when it started. That's when I get this invitation to him. From him. He knew I love peanut butter, and he said, do you want to come to Peanut City, have a little swim in the ocean, because there it's made from peanut butter.
Wow.
So I go along, swim costume on, I dive in mouth open so I can get a swim and a taste of the delicious peanut butter, and it wasn't peanut butter. I think you can guess what it was. Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding me.
He had sent me diving into basically an ocean full of poo. So.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, I know.
That's awful.
So it's horrific.
That's an awful experience.
Yeah. So I actually know from experience what it would be like if the ocean was peanut butter.
Well, no, because you don't, because you swam in an ocean of poo.
But he made it the same consistency.
Oh, had he only been eating peanut butter?
Yeah, exactly. I knew you. Yeah, you see, you know how it works now. So he'd actually filled it himself. So yeah, obviously I haven't done true peanut butter, but I would. You know, I'm not sure I would be able to risk it again. I'm quite traumatized by that
upsetting
experience because of Clonkers.
Clonkers sounds horrendous. I mean, what an awful person. And they'd have had to eat so much peanut butter to poo that much. I mean, I'm sort of impressed at the levels they went to. Just
he did, yeah. I think he took about 5 years to fill it up.
So it would be really old.
Old exactly. Yeah, to a whole ocean. I think it's still there to this day. He just never got around to removing it and putting the peanut butter back. So obviously he's now not welcome in that area. So
sure, but he's left it there, so people potentially still swimming in it.
Yeah,
still
of
thinking
course.
It's the peanut butter ocean.
Exactly, and they're just thinking it smells. You know, it smells a bit because people do. I mean, unfortunately, you do hear about sewage being pumped into the sea. They're just assuming it's that.
Oh, it's like that. Yes, of course. Well, I suppose for Six Man who hasn't gone through this awful experience. I suppose it'd be.
But we don't know. We don't
know. Well, if Six Man is not Clonkers, what was the experience like? Like, would you recommend if the ocean hadn't been poo and it had been peanut butter? Was it fun to swim in an ocean that was so claggy?
It was quite nice actually. Before I realised the full extent of what it was, but it was lovely for me. I mean, before this incident, I have peanut butter flowing through my taps in the bath. I just enjoy that kind of experience a lot. So and I think others would too. But unfortunately, they can't anymore because, as we know, Clonkers has ruined that for everyone.
Yes, yeah, that's a real shame. It's a real shame because I can see it. I mean, I can't see it working for all the sea animals, but like seaweed and peanut butter, that would go quite nicely together.
Yeah, it probably would actually, because you can get a Chinese restaurant type seaweed
Yeah,
peanutty things.
that's quite nice. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure how a whale would feel about swimming through peanut butter. I don't know if it.
yeah.
I
I
don't know what
think it
that'd be like.
might be quite bad for the sea life unless they water it down a bit.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and I suppose all the sea creatures will wee in it eventually, and that will. Do sea creatures wee? I don't know. I've never thought. I mean, I
It's a good
assume they
question, isn't
do.
it?
Do they wee? Do
Yeah,
fish wee? Because they're
I
always.
don't because they're always in water.
Yeah, I
Because
mean
then
they
they'd
poo. I know
always
they
be weeing, wouldn't
poo.
they?
They
They
poo
do poo.
because I've seen
Yeah.
the goldfish poo. But do they? But they don't. I assume they don't drink. So maybe they don't need to
Which
wee.
is must be really annoying if you get thirsty and you're underwater and then you're like,
It's around
well,
it. Yeah.
what do I do?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't know what they would do because yes, perhaps they do just poo then.
They might
That's,
just maybe they just poo.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm very surprised they haven't given us a nature show instead of David Attenborough, to be honest, with this level of,
I'm shocked.
he doesn't ask the big questions. We
He
do.
doesn't ask the big questions. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a very important. I mean, my other big question is what would happen if any sea creatures had a nut allergy and
Of
then had to swim in an
course.
ocean full of peanut butter? That feels
Yeah.
quite unfair.
Yeah, that's true. So in a way, maybe Clonkers did them a favour because it's not really peanut butter. So
That's true, isn't it? If it's
yeah.
poo nut butter, is that what we'd call it? Poo nut
Peanut
butter?
butter, yeah, peanut
Peanut
butter.
butter, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, then potentially it would be better for their allergies.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean,
Wow.
he did like sea life creatures. Maybe all these years I've assumed it was a prank, but he was actually trying to help the creatures with nut allergies. So
Oh, that's lovely. I've changed my mind on him completely. Of
well,
you
no,
said.
I've never
Yeah.
looked at it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, that that's yeah. Wow, wow. I mean, it's a very complex. Yeah, who knew? Who knew
who
when Six
knew?
Man slash Cronkers sent in this question that there was such a deep personal history to it? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wow. And if it's not Cronkers, I hope Six Man. I hope you're happy with that answer. At the age of 84 years old. Wow. Well, thank you, Emily Jo.
That's
Thank you so
okay.
much for this. And listen. I'm going to ask you what you're up to in a minute, but I know one of the things you're up to is that you have a brand new book coming out called
I
Cringe
do.
Club, which I
Yeah.
have read and it's brilliant and I love it.
Oh, thank
So
you.
tell us about Cringe Club.
So, Cringe Club is about a girl called Kennedy King, and she is forced to move to the big city from the countryside where she's lived all her life. All her best friends are. She's moved to London. And not only that, she's having to start a secondary school, which is quite scary anyway, even if you do know everyone. But the only good thing about this is that her mum has bought her a mobile phone so she can stay in touch with her old friends. And they end up she ends up setting up a group chat that she calls Cringe Club with her best friends from home called Liv and Devon. Now, the reason she calls it Cringe Club is because they all keep just doing embarrassing things. You know what it's like when you start school and you think you don't fit in. And so what they do, they come on the group chat and they share all their daily embarrassments and their challenges, and they kind of make each other laugh about it, and it doesn't seem quite as bad. So the book is basically like a little peek into Kennedy's phone. She also has chats in there with her, mum and sister, some Google searches, some funny poems she writes. But yeah, so it's essentially all told through her phone. I think it'd be really easy to read and really fun. So
Yeah, no, I loved the way the book is laid out, and I found it so much fun to read. And I have to say, it's a shame you didn't have a Cringe Club for after swimming in your ocean of poo. Is that one of the things that inspired you?
yeah, no, it was obviously. I do have my own Cringe Club actually, so because I needed one after that to sort of get over the trauma. Because obviously it's very cringy and embarrassing. Everyone stood around laughing, going, "Ah, she just swam in poo."
Yes.
So
Yes.
you see, yeah, so that was one of the inspirations why behind
There
Cringe
you go.
Club
Heard it here first. Heard it here first, listeners. That's amazing. Well, it's very exciting. Cringe Club is out on July the 31st, but everyone listening can pre-order it right now, and they should this very second. Do it this very second. Well, thank you tons. And what about you, Emily Jane? What's coming up in your life in the next 100 to 200 years?
I think I'm going to have a couple of wees. In that time, and just concentrate on my traffic cones, really. I think I've neglected them while I've been writing this book, so I need to get back out there.
Sure, so, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And get my revenge on clunkers. That's what I'm going to do. Wow. Revenge is sweet.
Wow. Well, unless it's in poo, I suppose. Or unless you've eaten poo. Unless you've eaten sweets before that. Is this part of... I don't want to ruin the plan.
No.
I don't want to give anything away. Well, listen, thank you so much. It's so nice to have you back on the show, and good luck with future traffic cone / revenge plans.
Thank you very much. Nice to speak to you.
Thanks so much to Emily Jane Clark for having time to answer Six Man's question. And Six Man, I do hope you liked your answer. But if not, why not send any complaints you have in a bottle that you cover in peanut butter and throw into the sea, and then I'll never have to see it. If you have a question you need to have answered, or you want to send in anything else at all, like something funny but cringe that happened to you so you can win a copy of Emily's new book, then please find your nearest plankton brain, grown up, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. And entries for the comp to win Cringe Club can be sent in all through the summer holes until the end of August. Cringe Club is out from July the 31st at all bookshops. That's good bookshops, bad ones, truly evil ones that are kind of moral but occasionally all the biscuits. All of them. And there will also be a Cringe Club podcast starting at the end of July too, so do check that out because I'm one of the guests. And Emily Jane's previous books, The Beast of Knobbly Bottom and Rise of the Zombie Pigs, are also an excellently funny read for all ages too. Oh, I've got another text. It says, please put your leg back up your nose now or your toilet will be destroyed immediately. Ugh. Uh-oh. Well, here we go then. Oh, this is so uncomfortable, but I guess at least the toilet hasn't been destroyed. How long do I have to do this for anyway? When does International Leg Up Your Nose Day end? Oh, another text. Leg up your nose day has ended. Please remove your leg from your nose or we will destroy your toilet immediately. Oh, phew. I guess I can finally relax until Leg Up Your Nose Day comes around again next year. Another text? What does this one say? Happy both legs up your nose day. No! No, bye. You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.